gonna be very unscripted, okay? All right. Hey guys, it's Noah again with Squirrelstone Strategies. I'm joined today with Nathan.
Hey everyone.
Hey, this is Nathan. So Nathan, first of all, just so everybody can get to know you and everything, what do you actually do?
Right. So beforehand, I initially started my own company. It was a marketing agency and web design, and I just recently parted ways from that, and now I'm doing property management and getting into the realtor space of real estate. So yeah, that's what I'm focusing on.
Cool. Yeah, we were talking a little bit before about, you started your website stuff and you did door knocking and everything like that. So you definitely have that interesting perspective of like going out there, and going and getting it. What kind of inspired you to go ahead and go that way and actually hit those doors? Because that's one of the hardest things to do, is going and hitting those doors.
Yeah. I think what inspired me was just the idea that the other early bird gets the worm.
Exactly.
And, although it doesn't fit exactly, but what I mean is, I would wake up first thing in the morning. I would wait outside until every business in this strip opens. 10 a.m., 9 a.m. I would just go to them, walk in, ask for the owner. If the owner's not there, pass on my card, ask the employee to pass the card to the owner. And I would just go to every single one I could find, any popular areas, even whether it's Allen, a very nice area, or let's say some areas of Mesquite that are not as nice, either way. And I would go in there with a quick pitch, and I just knew that in a industry where it's so condensed, so many companies are in there.
A lot of website guys out there.
I mean, they're all over the place. You can find one down the street. The only way to actually win clients is to get in front of them first and to present yourself. Cold calls aren't going to work for that kind of industry.
So that's what you mean by getting the early bird gets the worm.
Right. So you gotta show yourself first. They like to see faces. They like to know who they're working with. If it's something like ChatGPT, well,
yeah,
there's not really a lot of competitors, so nobody really cares about who's the owner's face. I want to meet him before I use it. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, nobody's worried about that.
But yeah, for websites and marketing companies, it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. So what separates you from someone else is, one thing is getting in front of the customer first, and then second thing is your actual personality, your own personal brand that you show through yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely like a main thing with it, especially in today's entrepreneurship. Because before they would just go to it'd be, they go to the door, they pitch themselves, everything like that. But now you have more behind you when you actually go out there. Right. So I definitely agree with that. So we were talking a little bit before about like, YouTuber culture, everything like that. How did that affect you? Did you watch a lot of these YouTubers that were entrepreneurs, everything like that?
Yeah, so I watched a lot of these guys, even some guys who are very controversial, like Andrew Tate or Kristen Tate. There's the Iman. There's all sorts of those guys, right? Mm-hmm. I think that whether you like them or not, there's certain things that you can learn from them, certain things that maybe you shouldn't take away as much. But I did watch them a lot just to kind of analyze how they view business, what are their viewpoints, and how they develop their brands. So I think that's the one thing they do really well is their personal branding that they developed through YouTube, social media, and that's ultimately what makes them worth so much. Because there will never be another Andrew Tate, or there will never be another Iman, right?
Exactly.
Or even Gary Vee is another great example who's not as controversial. He's Yeah. So yeah, I did watch a lot of them. It did kind of impact my motivation as well as the way I viewed approaching business. So what I mean by that is it made me feel more aggressive towards it, as well as just pushing through no matter what. Beforehand, I was still a little bit worried, a little bit scared, but now it's a lot different just because of those YouTube influencers.
I definitely had a lot of the same experiences, and like for the most part, I think when you get to a point where it's like, I feel like 90% of the people that watch that, they kind of see it as like almost success porn. It's kind of like, it's basically like, they're like, okay, I'm going to watch this. So in our generation, it's kind of like people of like, they're looking at it and they're not actually going out and getting it. Yeah. And so because I feel like you can get all the motivation out there, but what really like turned it on you to like what made it different where you're like, okay, was there a point in your life where you were like, I can't do this anymore? Like, was it so unbearable that you were just like, okay, I need to get after this? Mm-hmm. Or how was that kind of formulated?
That's a great question. So, when I was younger, well, by young, I mean, like, I'd say 15, 16, that's when I started to explore entrepreneurship, and that's when I knew that school wasn't for me, and running some sort of business was what I wanted to chase. However, I never really did anything for like 4 years. I never really did anything. I mean, I read a lot of stuff, I followed a lot of things, but it never took action. But, it's when you see the world now where everything is just emerging, AI is emerging, technology, all sorts of companies are emerging, you see everyone's moving at such a fast pace, it's that feeling that like, man, I don't want to be left in the dust here. There's so many things.
FOMO.
Yeah. So, and especially when you have these YouTube influencers screaming in your ear every 30 seconds to get up and do something, it kind of makes you feel like getting up and doing something. So I think I idolize a few of these people, and not even just those current popular guys, but just regular entrepreneurs like, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, whatever. I looked up to them, and I see that the only difference between these guys, whether you like them or not, and everyone else who's just working regular jobs, is those guys actually went out there and they chased it. So I realized, I could be sitting here. It doesn't matter how many YouTube videos you watch, how many books you read, but if you don't go out there and do it or do something, it's not going to matter. So that's when I just stopped reading a whole bunch of books, stopped watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and I actually went and started something.
Okay. And so that was kind of the point where you were like, okay, I'm going to start this website. And I'll kind of go back to, the door knocking, because that's like, I find out that a lot of these entrepreneurs that we see, and they're always have like either door knocking, cold call sales, something like that. And there's always that moment that you're in the car. Do you know that moment when the car where you're about to go out there and you might drive away, you might not drive away? Yeah. What was did you have any type of like, all right, 1, 2, 3, go? Or was it like I will do what's required? Like what did you kind of tell yourself? Or was it just always like, I'm going?
Oh man, dude, that's spot on. Cause I really would just sit there and be like, man, am I really doing this? Like, I don't know. So I would think about like, this could be the most awkward exchange I could ever have in my life. I could walk in there, they would stare at me totally blank face, like, what do you want? And I've had those experiences where I would come in and these people would just look at me like, what do you do? Like, what do you want? I'm like, oh, I do websites, and that would make me freak out. So I don't know what I'm saying anymore. And I just say, oh, I make websites. I just want to let you know about my brand, whatever. They're just like, they just stand there and stare at the card for like 30 seconds. Like, they don't have no idea what.
Bots.
Yeah, completely bots. And I'm just like, man, what did I just do? So, I would sit in the car. I would have those moments where I would just sit there. Or even when I'm walking down around the strip and I would just stand there and just be like, man, do I do this or not? But I think ultimately what made me do it was just the idea that you have to do things that no one else is willing to do. That's very cliche, but it's true. It's so true that you have to do things that no one else is going to do in order to find that success. If no one else is willing to do door-to-door for websites for whatever reason, then that's what you should be doing. So I think that mindset is what allowed me to actually step in those doors and hand out some cards.
It's funny that you say that for the you have to do what other people are not willing to do, because I've listened to multiple things about this, and basically I think it's like 90% of people don't get past their like third podcast, and like 85% of the world doesn't work out, doesn't actually like take care of their body. So it's like you're literally in the highest substrata of people, but that you have to do what's required. You have to be different, or you're not going to do anything. And I mean, there's always people doing websites online, but no one's going door to door for it. Yeah. So you have to find your difference in the marketplace. So that kind of brings me to something new, like AI, because I know you're looking at that. Where do you think that's gonna go, and how do you think you're gonna adapt to that?
All right, so AI is a great thing. It's emerging so very quickly. It's insane, and it's in many different aspects. It's being implemented into entrepreneurship. So, I think it's going to impact at a certain point soon. It's going to impact every single company out there. And if you're not implementing AI into your company, then you're going to be left very behind from your competition. That's why do you think Copy AI started ChatGPT, and now every single big giant out there is trying to do it. Same thing. They're Google, Microsoft, even Elon Musk. They're all trying to open a company that's very similar to ChatGPT because they don't want to be left behind. So, yeah, and the way I'm planning to adapt to it, I'm actually in the process of starting an AI company right now. So that's going to be with one of my close friends. He's pretty much in software engineering, and he's very good at coding, and he's extremely obsessed with AI. So this guy...
That's awesome.
Yeah. He codes with ChatGPT like daily. Like he messes with it. He makes all sorts of codes, and he has like a million ideas of things that we could actually create a company from. So that's definitely something I want to tap into. It's a great market, and if you're not implementing that into your company, you better start now. Otherwise, you're missing out on a lot of growth potential, optimization of processes, and streamlining your processes. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think at some point we won't need humans as much, and it'll be like there's always the technological advancements. Everyone's scared of losing their jobs. But humans are very adaptable. So, what do you think that'll look like? I mean, I'm kind of getting off topic of business, but like okay. I'm thinking, some people will say, in 5 years we only have to work 2 or 3 hours. In 5 years, if we only have to work 2 or 3 hours, are you still gonna work those 10 hours and try to build your own thing? Because I feel like that's in your personality to build your own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this actually has a lot to do with businesses because a lot of these people's jobs are getting replaced by AI, and that the way that affects business is they can implement AI, and it's relatively cheap. I mean, it's digital. You have a software engineer, you just hire that person, he makes you unlimited amounts of software using AI. So when you have that, you don't really need to hire a bunch of individual people for different things. AI takes care of like 10 things at the same time. So that saves business a lot of costs. AI gets it done faster. And in some cases, it can be more accurate. But obviously that negatively affects a lot of people out there. But
do you think it'll be more like the marketplace of jobs will be more decentralized, as in like we're going to head into an independent contractor culture? More people are going to be entrepreneurs. More people are going to be salespeople, stuff like that. Have their own ideas, creatives?
Probably. Yeah, I think that's the way things are turning out right now, is because it's so much easier to start things nowadays. I mean, just as much as some people think it's harder because there's so many people creating companies now, there's not a lot of companies to start. But at the same time, we have so much more technology and opportunity created for us, and AI definitely does that. There's so many. Think about all these. Turn yourself into an AI app. All these things like put some text in, it creates images for you. Like all that is someone who created that idea based off an AI. That's their company. So that shows you that even something as small as that can be turned into it's a company, just using AI. So yeah, a lot of people are going to be converting to starting their own kind of craft, their own business, or utilizing AI to start their own kind of pathway. So you maybe to advance their current pathway. So maybe I'm a blog writer, but now instead of handwriting everything, I just you want a blog, you pay me, I put that in ChatGPT, and I give you a pretty solid blog. You know, so whether you use it to advance your current path or you use it to start a completely new company, I think it's going to have a huge impact on the marketplace for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. So that really does. I mean, with AI, it's just going to have more people, more optimization. We're just going to move faster. I mean, we'll get to the point. I don't think we'll ever not have problems to solve. Though I feel like you think it'll make more problems to solve for like it's literally creating its own paradox, like it's creating its own thing.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that too much. Now, yeah, I guess one of the big issues that it's creating is obviously the lack of jobs. It's taking up a lot of jobs. So then what do we do about that? I think that's where it goes back to what you're saying, is where it's going to lead people to have no choice but to start their own company. Exactly. So when you don't have a job and it's hard to find one because you're really good at writing blogs or you're really good at copy, but AI does all that, does your job, but even better and even faster and more cost efficient. What do? You can learn a whole nother skill, but most people are adults. They get laid off. They're not going to spend another 6 months to a year investing into a whole different skill that could also be taken up by AI. So I think the only smart thing to do is to start their own company, and I think that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, with that problem, now I can't really think of any other problems except maybe AI will take over or something.
Yeah. I think we're probably going a little bit too deep into this. I wanna talk more about. We did talk a little bit about how influencer culture has kind of influenced you. But why did you choose property management, and why did you go from website building to property management?
Oh, that's great. Well, that's actually it's actually nothing special. It's just because a couple of different things. One thing is just because the opportunity came up. So now when I had the web design agency and marketing agency, it wasn't making like $1 million. It was making some money. The important thing I got out of that is I learned a lot. As a first company, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about business structure, sales, marketing, even a bunch of digital aspects of a successful brand and all sorts of that stuff. But I also learned a lot about networking, and I met a lot of very valuable connections through that period of time. And one of those connections, her name is Cindy Goggins. I don't know if she's going to see this, but Cindy Goggins.
Probably not. No.
She's the best. Yeah, so she's a realtor, a successful realtor in the DFW area. She's amazing. She goes to a lot of the networking events here, so if you go, you might meet her sometime.
Okay.
But I reached out to her, and she was like, you know what? I want to help you out. She took my resume, and she sent it out to like a whole bunch of people. These are all business owners, right? And at a certain point, even if you have that entrepreneurship mindset, sometimes you have to take a break and maybe even work under someone, because then that gives you experience that you currently lack, connections, and opens up different paths for you. So what I did was, one of those people she connected me with was his name is Brian Podeska, and he is the owner of a franchise called Real Property Management Focus, and he took me in as his only employee, but we just gave me a name like assistant property manager.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do that. I wanted to take that offer because real estate opens up a lot of doors. I mean, real estate, you can do so many different things. You can property management, you can be a realtor, you can buy, sell houses, you can be an investor. And then not only just an investor, you can invest in so many different things. There's houses, there's apartments, there's hotels, all sorts of things that you can do. So, and I think I just like real estate in general. It has two really good business structures that you can use, which is one is commission based, so you have unlimited potential how much you earn, or you can also do there's also monthly reoccurring revenue model. Yeah. So property management, monthly reoccurring. Two cash flow models. Yeah, it's important. And so it's like everything's set up, and real estate will always be big. Everyone's going to need housing. Everyone's always going to want to buy a house, or they want to rent a house. Yes, there are crashes. There will never be a perfect market anywhere, but at the end of the day, property management is pretty strong even in crashes of the market. So I figured, you know what, I'll get into this. This will develop a lot of my skills. It also will give me a lot of connections, and that way I can kind of learn how to structure a company from inside out. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so he actually wants me to run the company in the future, in the near future, take over the company, make business decisions, and help him grow it. So that's mainly why I took the opportunity, because then I can still have that entrepreneurship side of me while I'm a part of this role. Versus, I mean, if it was just like a bigger franchise and they had like 10, 20 employees, I'd probably just be like one small piece of the
You'd be a number.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually have any impact on the company, right? I would just be doing one small job. So no, but Brian actually wants me to help him run the company, develop it with my skill sets, my knowledge, and my passion for entrepreneurship. So yeah, that's why I got into that. Being a realtor is just it's just a great way to make money if you stick to it. So that's also one reason I want to do that. And who knows, I might even open a company in real estate as well.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's just a testament to the amount. It's better to take action, because like when you were reading those books, when you were like not taking action, it took you going and meeting all those people and finding those, they call them in the industry super plug, somebody who's able to plug you into all these different people. So you mainly took the offer because it was just you wanted to take over the company, you still wanted to be an entrepreneur and everything like that. What other reasons did you choose that sort? Because your first business owner that you worked for, I even had it where that's like the first person that kind of gets you seeing a successful company. So how many people did you talk to before you went with this guy, and then what other things did you think about when choosing him as like basically a mentor?
Yeah. So I actually had a mentor during the period of time when I ran the marketing company.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a whole different mentor as well, and that led me to realize, like, man, I need to work with someone because they have so much value and knowledge to provide. So never be afraid to be humble and learn from other people. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think she actually got quite a lot of job offers when she did that for me, and a lot of these people were just regular jobs, just regular. I even got offers from MLMs, and I was
no, Amway.
One of them. Amway. Now I've had my experience with Amway. I did not like that. And no disrespect, I mean that's completely up to you, your choice, but that's not what we like to do. So, and this one was a some sort of health insurance.
Okay.
They brought me to. I even went to their office and I saw the sign, a whole banner, and I was like, "That looks really." It's called PHP Agency.
It's just the banner's like.
It's like a whole pyramid. Like their office is a pyramid. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I saw the banner and I was like, "This looks so familiar."
Yeah.
And I looked it up. It was exactly what I remembered. It's a.
Oh my gosh.
So, I got a lot of different variety of job offers, but the one that really had the most opportunity for me was Brian's company, because it's property management. Now, one aspect is the fact that I will have a big role in the company. I'm his only employee at the moment and his main employee. So he went to me with the idea that I'm gonna run a lot of company and manage a lot of the company and help him develop it in areas that maybe he hasn't developed yet, or maybe he's not good at it, or whatever it may be. And also, it's just a lot of room for potential. I mean, if you get a regular job, let's say you work at Walmart, I mean, there's not really a lot of potential for growth. Versus where I'm at now, there's room for, if I want to be a realtor, I can. And if I want to grow, if I want to do commission-based earnings for property management by finding renters, I can do that too. And also, because I'm his main employee, and the idea is I'm going to take on a lot of responsibility as time comes, and with responsibility, that means that the company is taking in more properties. And what that means is companies making more monthly revenue.
Yeah.
So that gives me room for making more money, for raises or whatever it may be. So it's like I saw the potential in earnings. I saw the potential in earnings growth, and that's ultimately why I chose Brian's position. Because also, I'm taking over a role where I'm basically applying a lot of business skills and knowledge, and that's why I like it, because it'll give me firsthand experience in basically running and growing a company.
So what do you think the number one thing, and I feel like you're gonna say action, but like what's the number one thing for like people that are watching stuff like this, stuff like other podcasts that go over entrepreneurship, and then also they're watching Andrew Tate, they're watching all these people. What would be, because your story is pretty interesting, you kind of just went in, what would you suggest to them? Would you suggest like sales? Like, I know it's going to be action based, but like what would you suggest to somebody out there to get their feet wet? Like what would be something like that?
Man, there's a lot of different things you could say for that. I would say first and foremost, something that I wish I did first is to develop myself.
Okay.
So you can jump straight into the water, without learning how to swim, or you can learn how to swim beforehand. One or the other. But I essentially just jumped in the water without knowing how to swim.
Okay.
And that's it's dangerous. You risk a lot, and it's I wouldn't say it's the smartest thing I've ever done in my life, but I just jumped in there. And for those you haven't known yet, but I graduated high school, I started college, and within the first semester I can't do it. I dropped out, started this agency, and it's like I realized very quickly I had no skill sets. I didn't know I only understood stuff about websites. Like I understood the layout, structures, the psychology behind a website's layout, all sorts of stuff like that. But I couldn't actually build a website properly. I didn't know how to manage PPC campaigns. I couldn't do graphic design or copywriting, any of that. I realized that very quickly. That's because I just jumped.
Especially when you go to somebody's door and you're like, "What's going on?" And you're like, "I don't know.
I don't really know yet, but just
let's do it.
Just try my stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but just do it. That's what it felt like.
Yeah,
but if I didn't have a mentor, it would be way harder. So I think it was partially because I had a mentor with me. That's why I was able to jump in there. It's like having I don't know how to swim, but I had a little floaty device with me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what a mentor does for you. But if I could restart, and it's what I recommend for anyone out there who's looking to start or want to get into entrepreneurship, I would just sit there for 6 months to a year and just develop a lot of the fundamental skills of an entrepreneur first. So whether that includes sales, that's probably number one there is sales. You have to get good at sales. You have to get good at networking. Be able to learn how to talk to people. It doesn't matter if you're really good at marketing, if you're really good at whatever it is that you do, but if you can't present yourself properly in a public space, if you can't go out there, dress properly, look nice, and hold professional and mature conversations with other people, they're not going to care. They're not going to care what you know. They're not going to like you. Then why would they work with you, right?
Yeah.
So, learn to take care of yourself. Learn how to talk with people. Something I'm still improving at is being more articulate with the way I say things. And sales, number one.
Sales.
And just basic fundamental skills like business structures and how to do pricing in certain industries or whatever industry you want to get into. If you're really set in an industry, just study that industry for 6 months. Just study it. I mean, that's part of sales is understanding your industry better than anyone else. So if you have an idea, what I would say is spend 6 months to improve yourself and your knowledge upon that industry before you even start it. versus you start it now. It's very expensive to start a brand, which is why I'm saying get yourself prepared first before you waste a lot of money and time. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think, well, would you? So you're saying like study for six months, check it out, as well as, but also take action at the same time, right? So like, I mean, number one thing for me was a sales job. I mean, sales jobs are one of the best ways because it's all the pressure's on your back. Yeah. Would you agree that like you want to have the pressure on your back, or are you taking the approach of kind of like it's all you kind of think first and then take a while, or are you like, because I know you jump straight in.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think I know you're kind of saying take it back a little bit, look at it for 6 months, but obviously we wouldn't want somebody to just sit there and sit for 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Like what would you say in that situation? Like what do you,
yeah, I mean, so I don't literally mean don't literally just sit there for 6 months. But I'm sorry. What I meant, I'm glad you were clarifying.
You're all good.
What I meant is, for example, you can still develop your brand, your company, as you learn. So while you're learning about your industry, start to map out, okay, this is who my target audience is. Start writing your business plan as you learn about your industry. And when you start learning about pricing for your industry, start mapping out your pricing plans, your pricing structures. Look at your competitors. What are they doing for their price? All of that, you can start developing your company and your brand idea while developing yourself and learning.
Okay. And, that makes more sense.
I jumped in there with no pricing plan, no business structure, no idea of anything.
You have to have a jump pad.
Yeah, you have to, and like you were saying, get a sales job. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm doing. I have a job where I get to develop and learn a lot of business skills, finance, sales, marketing, all of that stuff, and being able to utilize a lot of software and technology, including AI, to grow a company. So what I'm doing right now seems like just your regular everyday job, but I'm learning quite a lot to help prepare myself to start an AI company, and so I would definitely find a lot of opportunities for yourself to learn from other people, whether that means finding a mentor or actually working somewhere like a sales job. Whatever it is, do that, learn, and while you learn, start developing whatever company it is that you want to do.
Basically, like map your exit and go towards a target.
Yeah, it helps a lot. I mean, otherwise you're just shooting in the dark.
Yeah,
that's what I didn't. What am I doing? I mean, it ended up working okay for me. Yeah. I think that's just because I had a mentor with me, and also I already kind of understood business decently so where I knew what I needed to do. I was able to develop structures and implement new ideas relatively quickly. Of course, with the help of my mentor as well, but otherwise I would never do that ever again. Yeah, I would definitely change the way I do approach business after that experience.
Okay. Would you agree? So is business to you more of like a team sport or a solo sport? Because I feel like a bunch of YouTubers out there and a bunch of people that talk about business kind of talk about it as a solo sport. But in my experience, I've had it as a team sport. Like, I was wondering what your experience has been. It sounds like you had a mentor, but like what is your experience been? Is it a team sport or a solo sport?
Oh, I mean, it's 100% a team sport. Those people who say it's a solo sport, they're eventually at a certain point in time, they're going to realize very quickly that they're going to need a team. You can always start a company by yourself, but at any point where you start to scale any company, that's when you need to start bringing in a team, right? You cannot handle a growing and scaling company alone. That's the whole point of scaling, so you can onboard more employees or team members, right? Mm-hmm. So 100% it's a team game, and the moment you start thinking that I'm the boss, I'm all I need, then you're already messing up, So, and especially if you already have team members and you have that mindset like, well, I'm the boss here, you listen to me, you're wrong. Yeah. You are just as equal to them as they are to you. So that's the mindset you need to have a successful team in your company, and
Okay. So definitely team sport. Definitely. Okay. So I guess what are your I know your plans for the future were the AI and everything. Where can people find you? Like, what do you have a brand out there yet, or are you kind of just getting started with building a brand, or how can people find you? Everything like that. I want to give you a plug.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not really too much into social media. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just focused on myself now. I'm just working on my own thing, and I mean, in terms of brand, you mean like personal or like company brand, or?
Yeah, I mean, remind me the name of the company right now.
Oh, the property management. Yeah. It's Real Property Management Focus. So it's a franchise called Real Property Management, neighborly company. Okay. But every franchise owner has their own specific little unique name at the end. So ours is Focus. Okay. So yeah, that's that's owned by Brian Poduska, and his assistant property manager there. And we're based in Dallas, Texas, right? Frisco, more specifically Frisco, actually. Okay. The company I ran before was called Masterpiece Sites. That was a marketing and web design agency, but that is no longer there. I mean, I think the website's probably still up. Instagram's probably still there, but it's a ghost town now. So yeah. Yeah. The AI, no brand yet. No brand for the AI yet. We're still.
That's just thoughts right now.
We have like a billion ideas. We just haven't really, and that's also another important thing is when you have new ideas, it can be fairly expensive just to start and implement a whole company, a whole new idea. So we're being very careful as to taking appropriate steps to make sure this idea is better than another one, or which one's more practical, which one's more useful. And so we're going to map all that out first before we pick an idea and go with it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, so they can find you at Real Property Management Focus. For everybody out there, if you guys are looking to, you need a property management owner, because we didn't even get to really talk about that much. What are the the values of having a property management, using a property management company?
Oh well, yeah. Property management is really just to provide a lot of convenience and even ROI, peace of mind, and all the above for any investment owners out there, investment property owners. So when you own a property, it seems like it's a simple. I invest in a property. It's gonna make me a lot of money. It's gonna be easy. That's not reality at all. It's horrible. It's actually horrible. You buy this property. It's hard to find tenants, first of all, and then you find a tenant, and then sometimes you don't even understand the true value of your rent's worth. And then people tend to undershoot their own rent when people are completely willing to pay $500 or $1,000 more than what they're offering. And then that's an issue, and then there's tenants are wild nowadays.
What's your craziest story that you've had to interact with?
Oh man, it was an interesting house. It's just a regular family home, 3-bed, 2-bath. Mm-hmm. And prior to the new tenants moving in, it was just very normal house. Everything is perfectly fine how it is. Looks clean, looks beautiful. I came in for a mid-lease inspection 6 months in after they moved in. It was like a horror house. It was like a horror scene. It was just, I walk in. First of all, that house actually had a break-in, so someone broke in the back door. Also broke one of the windows we used to call it a master bedroom. Now they actually changed it to where the correct term is primary bedroom. Okay. So I don't know, it's weird, but primary bedroom. Okay. There's a window that's broken there. There's blood stains outside.
Wait. Blood stains? Wait, whoa.
Yeah, so he broke through the doors. He broke through the windows. I'm sure he cut himself somehow. Yeah. So it was, front door. You see, drops of blood everywhere, and I'm just like, oh my god, what is going on? I walk in.
A horror house for real.
And the issue is, you would think that a break-in is already bad enough by itself. Like probably caused a lot. Actually, it wasn't even alone that bad. The main issue is what the tenants did to the house, where every single room. There was colors and marking all over the wall, as in like a little child was just drawing all over every single wall. And then every single carpet was stained in different colors too. Not even just like a regular, different colors, pink, like grayish, black, whatever you can think of. There's a lot of holes in the walls. Every wall, there's a lot of holes in the walls.
Somebody was going crazy in there, punching walls. That's insane. Someone was angry.
It was like your typical college dorm party or something, And oven door was shattered. The glass was shattered. I don't know. And lots of wear and tear in the walls and the floors. The kitchen light, there's 4 bulbs, and the covers on the bulbs, like 2 or 3 of them were missing.
2 or 3 missing?
I don't even know how, but it was just a horrible mess of a house, it's either that where the tenant really messes up the property, or it's a property that's in a very old and bad area. Okay. But what the owners do is so what Brian, my boss, likes to say, or like to call it, is putting lipstick on a pig. It's such a terrible area, a terrible house, but they took it and add some cheap renovations to make it look modern inside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But there's so many flaws to it. Outside is still a mess. So it's either those are the 2 different situations I've experienced where it's like the worst I've ever seen.
Okay.
And you can imagine what it would be like for the owner if he didn't have us managing it for him, right, or for her. It would be a complete nightmare for them. But luckily for them, obviously we're here, so we manage all of that. We take care of all of that for them. So
there's insurance on that? Like you guys take care of the insurance and you're like taking care of it, or does it like does the owner have to come out of pocket, or how's that work?
So we'll take care of it. I mean, it really depends. So if that's the renter's fault,
okay,
then it comes out of every renter has a security deposit. So it'll come out of their security deposit. We're a franchise. We're a part of this company called the Neighborly. There's a lot of these companies like landscaping services or roofing or HVAC. So basically we have vendors for anything we need. So in terms of, let's say the carpet was completely a mess and we would take that out of the security deposit, we get one of our vendors out there to clean up the carpet. If it's something that is not the renter's fault, let's say, I don't know, the sink faucet just falls off, whatever, then we that comes out of us. We take care of that. Okay. So yeah, we do take fees out of the owners and the renters. We management or maintenance fees and all sorts of stuff like that. But all that basically is them paying us to take care of any issues that may arise.
Okay. When do you think the best time, like when somebody's starting to get into their real estate investing journey, because you guys are dealing with investors, what time is it? 3 houses they should look at it? Is it 6 houses? Is it 20 houses? When should you start using a property management company?
Honestly, even one property, you can still start to hire someone. In fact, that's what people do. A lot of the cases, people are buying in, but they have to go work a lot, or they have to go somewhere else or out of state. And so they have a property in Dallas, but they're in like Georgia or whatever, or they're just working a lot. So, the whole idea of property management is it saves the owner a lot of time, effort. And so it's really for anyone who's still having to have their own separate schedule aside from the property, whether you have 1, 2, 3, or 10 of them. So yeah, it doesn't quite matter how many you have. It just depends if you have the time to manage it yourself or not.
Okay, yeah, because my uncle he owns about 6 to 8 properties, and he uses property management companies because he's not trying to deal with that stuff. I mean, he's had horror stories of like someone stealing a whole HVAC system. Like, how do you even do that? Like, who's doing that? But I mean, you guys are like the pillow. Like you're catching people. So, not catching them as in like police officers, but like you're catching the fall. Right. So you don't have to come too much out of pocket, but
it saves them a lot of stress, because if you were on your own and someone steals your HVAC system, well, you're gonna be like, what the heck do I do? Yeah. But if someone steals your HVAC system but you have a property manager, they don't know exactly what to do. They know the laws. They understand, all that stuff, so they can guide you and help take care of that for you, pretty much. So it does provide a lot of. It makes the experience of owning properties more stress free.
All right. Well, Nathan, I think we're gonna go ahead and cut it for now. But this has been a great experience. And other than that, I'll go ahead and catch you.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Catch you guys in the next one. Cool.